Welcome to the Work From Home Milspo Movement podcast, a place where we are meeting military spouses where they are at and providing real solutions to military spouse employment. My name is Lauren Lonsdale, and I am a 16-year Marine Corps spouse. I'm the owner of a creative marketing firm and the instructor behind the Work From Home Milspo courses, which teach military spouses skills to become creative marketing virtual assistants. I am here to provide insight into creating and growing your work from home career, either as a military spouse creative marketing assistant, entrepreneur, or remote employee. Join us as we create a movement towards better solutions for military spouse employment, combat financial insecurities for military families, and work to increase service member retention by helping increase the betterment of military spouse and military family mental health. Hey everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Work From Home Milspo Movement. My name is Lauren Lonsdale, and I am the Work From Home Milspo. I am excited to talk to you guys today about this episode. I get this question quite a bit. Is what does the day in the life look like for a virtual marketing assistant? I think this is probably the biggest question because people really want to see what the flexibility is like. Now, of course, it's going to be a little bit different depending on if you work for an agency or you're a freelancer and what each individual agency requires you to do. But in general, you have complete flexibility of your schedule. And that's what makes it such a wonderful opportunity for military spouses. The fact that you can really flex your schedule to the needs of your family and to the needs of your clients or your business or your agency is really quite a gift to have as a military spouse. It's so unique to find a remote career in general, military or civilian wise, that allows you to do that, especially if you are not interested in owning your own business or not ready to start that process yet. This allows you to work remotely on a schedule that works for you during times of the day that works for you and pretty much anywhere in the world. Now, again, agencies out there will have certain requirements of days and times that you might need to be available for team meetings or particular client meetings or maybe location-based stipulations. Not all agencies allow you to work OCONUS. So it just kind of depends on the agency itself. But in general, the day in the life is super flexible. So I'm going to give you a quick rundown of what the day in the life of a marketing assistant could look like, what my day in the life looks like as a business owner, and how you can kind of achieve that for yourself as a brand new virtual marketing assistant. Let's dive in. When I say your schedule is completely flexible to the needs of you, yourself, your family, I really, really mean it. As a virtual marketing assistant, generally you are a contractor, you are a 1099, which means your agency, your clients cannot define for you what times you work, the equipment you work on, and where you are physically located to work outside of maybe state stipulations. So they can say you can't be working outside the state of California or you can't be in California usually, actually, it's a typical answer. But they can't say that you can't work at Starbucks or your house or wherever. So there are some stipulations, but in general, it really is super flexible. And what I can tell you is that in every season of my life, when I had babies, when I had toddlers, when I had kids in school, but like I do now, when I have older kids who are a little bit more self-sufficient, I have a teenager, which is crazy. And I have a 10-year-old and a 9-year-old. They're pretty self-sufficient even when they're home. In fact, I have one home from school today sick. It can change and flex with you depending on where you are in your life and the season of life that you're in. So not only is it flexible in that your schedule is flexible, but it's flexible for what you need during or where you are. So it meets you where you're at, which is part of our mission here at the Work From Home Milspo, is to create these PCS friendly remote careers that meet you where you're at in your season of life right now. So if you are a new mom and you have a baby at home or multiple babies, your schedule is going to look a heck of a lot different than my schedule where my kids are all in school all day long. Or if you're a homeschooling mom, that's going to look different for you. But this is all something that can be done. All the tasks that you work on as a marketing assistant can be done during the pockets of those of your day. It just kind of depends on how much work you want to take on, how much bandwidth you have, and what you want that to look like in your schedule. So you could work full time if that's what you want, or that's the season of the life you're in, or you could work an hour a day, 2 hours a day. Just depends on how many clients you have and what you want that to look like. The only thing at the end of the day that really matters as a contracted marketing assistant, whether you own your own business or you're working for an agency, is that the task gets done and done well in the time frame it is asked to be done in. Not that you are just taking your sweet time because you've got XYZ going on in life and blah, 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 and you don't communicate to your clients, but that you do have the autonomy to say, I'm going to work at this time and this time, but not during this time. So let me give you some examples of how that might work. So when you are a brand new mom, you might say, okay, I want to work for whatever reason. For me, it was at that point in our lives, I really needed something that was for myself. I was losing my identity as Lauren, and I was just Evelyn's mom. That's my oldest daughter, and James's wife, and that's all I was. And I felt like I was losing my identity. So I just needed something. I didn't need a lot. I didn't need full time. I didn't even need close to part time. I just needed a little something, not even every single day, just, sometimes. And so what I started to do was to get up super early, and this works for me. It does not work for everybody. Wake up at 5 a.m. before the kids were up, and I would work for about 2 hours. And then if I had some time throughout the day, during nap time or something like that, I'd plug in some time then. And my boundary for myself was that I would not work in the evenings or weekends. I would work sometimes early on the weekends, but I wouldn't work during the day because that was family time. Evenings is my time for my kids, for my husband, and the weekends, again, is family time. And that was the boundary I set for myself when I was first getting started as a virtual marketing assistant. Then my kids got a little bit older. I had one in preschool, or several all of them in preschool for 4 hours a day. So then I would work only while they were at school, and I'd spend my mornings would be spent, working out and getting those things done before kids got up. And then once they were in school, I would work for the time that they were in school. And then if I had some free time because they were on play dates or with playing with friends or nap time or whatever, then I would work during that time as well. And then at the end of the day, once my husband was home, or, the day was kind of winding down, that's when I would finish my work for the day. And, rinse and repeat for quite a few years while I still had kids at home for at least part of the day. Once my kids were in school all day long, that's when I really started to work a little bit more full time. However, until we moved here to Okinawa, so about a year and a half ago, I still was not working once my kids got home from school. Around 3:30, when all my kids were home, I would just be done for the day because my kids were still pretty small, kindergarten, first grade, second grade, where I just didn't feel comfortable and didn't want to be working when they were home for the day. Now that they're a little bit older and business has kind of taken off, I do work once they're home. I go and pick them up from school, and then I will continue working till about 4 or 5, sometimes 6 o'clock at night, which is not what I want to be doing and not what I want my lifestyle to be like long term. But in this growth phase of our business, that's kind of where we're at. So not what I'm looking forward to all of the time, but that's a change in where I am for my season of life right now, and what I want to be doing for my next season of life is to not be working well into the evening while everyone's home from school. So it has changed over the years what my schedule looks like, but my boundaries pretty much have stayed the same. I don't work evenings. Like if my husband and I are sitting on the couch watching TV or reading or doing whatever we're doing in the evenings, I'm not working. And then on the weekends, I don't typically work unless it's something that him and I are doing together, whether it's recording a podcast or working on finances or working on strategic planning. We do that on the weekends because that's when he's home. But I generally do not do client work unless he's TDY and my kids are out playing with friends or doing something like that. But I still keep those boundaries because that's really important to me to have that boundary to have that flexibility. You keep seeing the light. If you're watching this on YouTube or Spotify, you keep seeing our light turn on and off. It's not a ghost. We have motion sensor lights in this house, so anytime the dogs move downstairs, the light turns on. So like I said, the schedule, the flexibility is there. Your schedule flexes to where you need it to flex. And that's kind of the beauty of this career. So you can change this for your change your schedule based on the season of life that you're in. But I always recommend having some sort of boundaries, because no matter what, somebody is going to come along and try to push those boundaries and try to get you to work during times that do not work for you, or that you don't want to have that type of the work being done during those hours, and you have to set those boundaries. So let's talk about how you set those boundaries within your own schedule, and then what your daily schedule could look like as a virtual marketing assistant. Okay, so setting those boundaries, it's something that I've talked about before in our podcast, and it is something that I find to be very important as you kind of start this life as a remote worker, because you will find not only with your family, but you'll also find with friends, neighbors, coworkers, or not coworkers, but friends, neighbors, and even clients will start to kind of weed their way into where your boundaries are. And it's really important for you not to only have boundaries with your work, but also have boundaries with your family to ensure that the work can be done. Because when you say, oh, I have this completely flexible schedule and I work from home, a lot of people, what they hear is, I can just do whatever I want whenever I want. When the truth is that as a professional marketing assistant and somebody who wants to grow in this career and wants to continue to elevate themselves, you cannot neglect the work that actually needs to be done. It is not this like free for all of the time where you can just not work for a week because you don't feel like it or whatever, and not communicate to clients about what's going on. It is an actual profession. And when you're working for an agency, you represent that agency. And then especially when you're working for yourself as a freelancer, you represent your own business. And so it's really important to ensure that you are getting the work done while setting boundaries for yourself, for your clients, and for your family, so that you can make sure that all of these things are cohesively working together in the best way possible, and you're not overworking and neglecting family, or neglecting work and I don't want to say spending too much time with family, because you can't really spend too much time with family, but neglecting work and just not taking care of the things you need to for work just because you're doing something else. So let's first start with talking about setting boundaries with family. Setting boundaries with family is probably the harder one to do. It's really easy to set professional boundaries, but setting boundaries with your family, especially when you're first getting started, is probably one of the hardest things to do. When I first started doing this kind of like remote work, very one-off, an hour here, 2 hours there, it didn't feel like a real job. It didn't feel like a real job to me. It didn't really feel like a real job to my husband. And so there was a lot of conversation in the beginning about my role as working as a remote worker, and my role as working, as mom, wife, and all these things. And so we had to have dedicated conversations of, okay, I'm doing this and I want to do this. I need to do this for myself. And these are the reasons why. Yes, I love being a mom. Yes, I love being a wife, but I'm losing my identity. This is really important to me. I just want something for myself every couple, a couple hours a day or an hour a day or whatever it is. And so once we had that conversation, I could say, okay, how do I make this work? And it's going to be different for everybody, but how can I make this work where I have the least amount of impact on my family, especially when I have babies and really young kids? I really did not want to be completely stressed out that I had all these things to do and the kids were awake and weren't napping right, or somebody got sick, or whatever pops up, right? Like they're just being extra clingy that day. I didn't want to have to be stressed about that and work. So how could I set that boundary? So the boundary for me was, I need to work when nobody's awake. And so I was working super early in the morning, 5 a.m. to 7:30 in the morning. And then that helped to give me the thing that I needed, but also helped me be present as a mom then later. And then as the kids got a little bit older, it was another conversation of, okay, now that the kids are older, they're in preschool, I'm only going to work when they're at school. And then they got a little bit older. Okay, I'm going to work while they're at school, like full-time school. And then now it's, okay, this business has grown. I need to work a little bit more. They're more self-sufficient. And then it's a conversation of boundaries, not only with family, like husband, but also with kids. Okay, I've got to work. This is what my schedule looks like. This is what I need from you guys. So as you kind of change these seasons of your life, you have to start to have those conversations of, yes, I'm wife. Yes, I'm mother. Yes, I'm military spouse, or, leadership role in the military community or wherever you're at. But you need to say, yes, I have all those things, but I also work. Like, I do have these things that need to be done. So setting those boundaries with your family as well, and having that conversation of, yes, I'm available to you. Yes, I'm home. Yes, I work. My office is right here, and I'm here to help you with what you need, and I can stop what I'm doing to help you with what you absolutely need me to help with. But you also have to understand that I have certain responsibilities, clients that are waiting on me, agency work that's waiting on me, whatever it might be, and having those conversations so that family are aware that this is not a hobby. This is not just something you're doing. There's one. See, flexibility with the kids home from school sick today. Just had to run and grab her some medicine and get her set up to be a little bit more comfortable. So setting these boundaries with your family, it is important to, like I said, sit down and have that conversation. And it's going to be an ongoing conversation of what that looks like. Another thing that, typically comes up with family is that although your schedule is flexible, it doesn't mean you don't have responsibilities. Like I mentioned before, you do have certain responsibilities, and you need to have the conversation of, hey, yes, I want to be here for XYZ, or I'm going to be here for XYZ, but I also need to do ABC first. And having that conversation can really help you to ensure that they understand that this is not just a hobby. This is not just something you're doing so you can ignore your family. It is something that is important to you, or to help grow your own business, grow your career, whatever that might look like for you. So having that conversation with them about why this is important to you. If it's not a dedicated conversation of you have to, work and get a job and make income and stuff like that, having that conversation of, yes, my schedule is flexible, but I also have these things to do as well. So it's not completely flexible to where I can just drop everything all of the time, no matter what the situation is. Sometimes you do need somebody to step in and help, or to be, self-sufficient. Get your own snack. If you're 10 years old, get your own snack. The other conversation that I think is unique to military spouses, not completely unique, but we have some kids home from school sick today. So that is part of the beauty of having this flexibility. As someone who works from home and having a flexible schedule, I can stop what I'm doing and take care of whoever needs to be taken care of. But it's also important to set those boundaries. Like I mentioned, having the opportunity to have that conversation with your family members about, hey, this is what I have going on. This is not just a hobby. This is something that I do. Yes, it's flexible. Yes, it is something that I can change the days and the times that I work for the most part, but I do still have certain responsibilities. And having that conversation with everyone in the family, wherever you are in your season of life, is really important. Let's talk about setting those boundaries with clients. So this is a little bit easier, like I mentioned before, because it's easier to tell a client or an agency, these are the days and times I work, and these are the days and times I don't work. But it is important to set that up in the beginning. I find, especially in the freelance side of things, if you're running your own business, having that conversation of, I can't, I don't work evenings and weekends. Please don't expect an email back from me. There are many times where clients will start to go beyond those boundaries, and how you respond to it can really set the tone for your relationship with that client. So, or even with an agency. So the first thing I do when setting a boundary with a client,
is letting them know right from the beginning. When I worked for an agency and now being a business owner, I say right from the beginning, I do not work evenings. I do not work weekends. I'm also in Japan. So I also let my clients know, hey, it may take 14 hours, 16 hours, sometimes even 24 hours for me to respond to you or for you to get that email back, because I'm for the most part in an opposite time zone as you. So please don't expect me to answer you at 3 a.m. And if you need something immediate, usually I'll point them to a team member. But in general, I'm able to say, hey, we're going to have a little bit of a gap in time here. Also, I don't work my evenings or my weekends, which may translate different to you. My evenings are your mornings. I may not be answering your emails right away. And letting them know. Most clients are really okay with that. They understand that. Most of your clients as a marketing assistant are going to be entrepreneurs themselves. So they themselves understand setting those boundaries. So usually it works out really well. But you will have a client who may email you, text you, whatever, when those boundaries are set. Sometimes those clients will email you on the weekends, not because they want you to respond on the weekend, but because if they don't email you, they're going to forget. And so, if they do send you an email, you happen to see it, you can always send an email back that says, I saw this email, I will respond first thing on Monday, whatever it is. Or you can just not respond because you've set that boundary with them. So you can wait until Monday and respond then. The only time I take this boundary kind of off the table is when there's something like emergent that happens. A website has gone down or payment is not processing and they just went through a launch. That's the only time I'll take my boundary off the table and say, okay, I'll help you with this because it's time sensitive. But in general, I set those boundaries from the beginning. That allows me not only having the boundary with my family and having the boundaries with my clients or an agency, if you're working for an agency, that helps me set up for the lifestyle that I want surrounding this career. For those of you listening, you are either already a marketing assistant or considering being a marketing assistant, probably primarily because of the flexibility of the schedule and setting up a lifestyle that you want. You're not looking to work probably in a full-time capacity where you are working 9 to 5 every day sitting at a desk. You may want full-time hours or full-time work, but you are looking for the flexibility of being able to work the hours that work for you, the times that work for you, for your family, for military life things like PCSing and trainings and sick kids or whatever whatever might pop up. You're looking for that flexibility. And so having these boundaries that you have certain times that you work during the day, certain times that your family knows you're working, certain times that your clients know you're working, allows you to have that flexibility for your schedule. And again, your schedule is going to look different during your different season of life. But let's go ahead and dive into what that daily life schedule could look like as a marketing assistant. And I'm going to give you kind of some daily tasks and things that we work on over at Aura Digital to give you an idea of what types of things you might be doing. And then I'm going to give you some tips on how to set up your schedule for yourself, the boundaries. And again, it's going to look a little bit different for you or for everybody because your season of life might be different. The amount of work that you want to do might be different, but we'll give you some examples of how to best work this for yourself, either working for an agency or running your own business. So first things first, here is what our day looks like, what my day looks like as a marketing firm owner, but what I would be doing as a marketing assistant or what some of our VAs do. So for myself, I still wake up very early. I am a fitness buff. I love to work out. And so that's really important to me. So I wake up around 5 a.m. every day. I start off with some meditation and visualization, script writing, things like that for about 15 minutes. And while I drink my pre-workout to wake up and a little bit of coffee. And then I will dive into my workout, which is either weightlifting or spin, going on the bike or yoga. And so then I hit my workout and then I typically do my mental health walk with a weighted vest with our dogs for about a mile and a half. And once I'm done with that, it is full on mom mode. I am getting kids up for school. I am getting myself ready for the day. I am, finishing up lunches, making breakfast, making beds, tidying the house. And so just full on mom mode for the next couple hours. Once I get the kids to school, it's about 9 o'clock for me. I spend about 30 minutes to an hour, somewhere in between there, taking care of family stuff, either setting appointments, making phone calls. This is when I do my daily cleaning because I still want to make sure that my household is taken care of, whether I'm vacuuming or cleaning bathrooms or doing laundry, whatever that might look like. I prioritize both my workouts and the house cleaning stuff because those are the things that I want to make sure get done every day, even if everything else goes out the window. So I will get my workout done, I'll get the house cleaning done, and then around 10 o'clock is when I'm able to sit down and really start to work. And so what my day looks like is a little bit different than what my day looks like now is a little different than what it looked like as a marketing assistant. But I time block my weeks by doing certain things on certain days. So Monday is executive client day and an admin day. Tuesday is a client day where I just work on client stuff. Wednesday is content creation day. These are the days I do my podcasts and record my reels and things like that. Thursdays is another client day. And then Friday generally is either finishing up executive client things or more admin stuff. So it just kind of depends, and sometimes client catch up. Friday is like my extra day. My goal is to do only 4 days a week and Friday be kind of an off day, but it hasn't worked out so far. So that's where we are right now. But typically as a marketing assistant, what this would look like for me is that I would sit down and I would first go through my emails, make sure I am noting anything that needs to be done for a client that is time sensitive. I will write my to-do list, which I still have a paper planner that I use, and I will write my to-do list for the day and write down any client tasks that I need to be working on. Usually on Sundays, I will do a brain dump. So I'll also go through my brain dump and see what things I can fill in that need to be done for the week, and then do those things. The way I prioritize what I do during the day is that I will work on my business growth stuff first. So if it's something, once I write my to-do list down, unless anything is like super time sensitive, I will start with my business growth stuff first. So growing my own business. If you are working for an agency, this may not apply to you, but if you're freelancing, this will apply to you. So this will be things like, writing down content ideas or recording content or scheduling a reel or engagement on social media. This might be doing some email marketing or recording podcasts, whatever that might be for my business growth. I put that in my brain dump that I have just in a Google Doc that I can access at any time. And I will pick one thing per day, sometimes up to 1 to 3 things per day for business growth that happen first. Then I start to dive into client work. Now, for you as a marketing assistant working for an agency, you'll probably have very specific client work, but this could be anything from landing page designs, email marketing edits, social media management, copywriting, writing blog posts, doing SEO. It really just kind of depends on what you have for your client docket. And then I work until about, depending on the day it is, Tuesdays my kids get out a little bit earlier. So I work until it's about 10 minutes before I need to start driving to pick them up. Then I go and I pick up my kids from school. That takes about 30-ish to 40 minutes. Once we get home from school, for the first hour that they are home, I'm in mom mode. I am cleaning up lunch stuff. I'm helping get ready, homework get ready. I'm giving them their chores for the day. I'm tidying up the house, lunch dishes, things like that. And I do that for about an hour. And then after that, once they are settled into playing with friends, doing their homework, wherever they are, then I come back and finish up any work things that I need to do for the next hour, 2 hours, depending on the time of the day. So my schedule allows me to have the flexibility to be here, mom mode, wife mode, whatever that is. And then I'm able to drop my kids off at school every day, pick them up. I throw in dentist appointment and doctor's appointments and running errands into those days when I have the flexibility to do so. but the day can look different for you in different seasons of your life. When I had younger kids, like I mentioned before, I would work for a couple hours during the day and then I was all mom mode the rest of the day. But now, as a virtual marketing assistant, I am able to have the flexibility to, or now that I own my own business, but as a virtual marketing assistant, my kids are older, I'm able to flex my schedule to the needs of what that might look like. So, for example, yesterday, my schedule was a little bit different. I was able to walk my dogs in the morning, but my daughter had a super early orthodontist appointment. So I took her to her ortho appointment. My other kids were here getting ready for school while dad was home. And I was able to take her to an appointment, didn't work out, came home, wasn't dressed or anything like that, just got the kids out the door to school, came home, and then I spent about an hour and a half cleaning because I didn't get to tidy up in the morning. There was still a bunch of stuff left to do. I spent an hour and a half cleaning and then worked through the day as much as I could. Husband came home early. I sat and had lunch with him and we talked for a while. And then I came back up, did some work, went to go pick up the kids from school. Like, my day can flex when I need it to flex. And that is the beauty of it, having the opportunity to have this flexible type of schedule. So like I said, some strategies for you to block your time when you are creating this flexible schedule for yourself. There are different ways that you can do this, and it really is going to depend on the person. So I can only give you an example of what works for me, and then you can decide. And especially as you start working for an agency or taking your own clients, you'll figure out what works for you. But like I mentioned before, what has helped me as a business owner is now blocking out my days. Of Mondays are certain days, Tuesdays I work on client stuff, Wednesdays is content creation. That has really helped me. Another thing that helped me, especially in the beginning, was blocking hours, saying 5 to 7 I'm working, 1 to 2 I'm working, everything else is family stuff. And really setting up the schedule that works for me in that way. And that's what I can suggest to you as a marketing assistant. When you're first getting started, instead of just taking clients and saying, I'll just figure out when I'm going to work, dedicate certain days or certain times during the day for your work. That is the first step to setting those boundaries with yourself, with your clients, with your family, is saying, these are my work hours. When I am working, if something is to come up that I need help with, I may ask you to help in and help with the kids, or I may, have a friend on standby that can do a play date for me. Or if someone's sick, I'm going to move my work onto this day and I'm going to need some extra help that day. Just being able to set that boundary will really allow you to set your schedule and allow you to recognize your bandwidth. If you say, I'm going to take as many clients as I can and I'll figure it out, you're going to find yourself, 1, completely burnt out, and 2, totally stressed out, and 3, really neglecting clients. You're not going to perform well because you're going to be rushing through stuff to get as much done as you possibly can. That is not the way to do it. That's not how you're going to grow your career. That's not how you're going to become one of the marketing assistants that people are searching for or seeking out. You're not going to be referred. Like, you want to make sure that you are taking on the level of clients that you can handle for the amount of hours you have in the day to do your work. Some of you are going to have very little amount of time because you still have babies at home, or you might have a full-time job on top of this. Some of you are going to have more time. Your kids are older. You don't have kids. Your kids are out of the house. It looks different for everybody. Maybe you have childcare. It looks different for everybody. But that is my number one tip for you in getting started, is to, at the beginning, think about your schedule, think about what can work for you and the life you currently lead, and how you can fit in the work into that, not fit your life into the work. That those are 2 different ways to look at it, and fitting your life into the work is what's going to make you burnt out and stressed out and not performing well for your clients. So that's my tip for, creating that schedule for you. Like I said, it's different for everybody, different for your season of life, different for your personality. But being able to block that time out is really useful as a brand new marketing assistant. Okay, so that's it for me for today. I hope you kind of found this useful to just help you understand how to set those boundaries, understand what your schedule can look like, and how to set up yourself for success when starting off as a new marketing assistant and setting that schedule for yourself, setting those boundaries for yourself and for your family, and what your day can look like, because it is totally flexible. There are days where I have spent days not working. I've taken off work because I've had a family event or a unit event or we're on vacation. We took 2 months off to PCS to Japan. I took time off to go on a 2-week cruise with my family through Southeast Asia. I took time off to take my kids to Taylor Swift in Canada. Like, we take time off, and it offers that flexibility to be able to do that. But having those boundaries and setting that schedule can really help you be successful as a marketing assistant. And your daily schedule is completely flexible to the way you want it to be, which is amazing. And like I say all the time, it's like a unicorn of a career for military spouses, because not only is it something that you can flex to where you're at right now, meets you where you're at, but it also can grow with you into something even larger as your season of life changes. So, okay, guys, that's it for me this week. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day today. Thank you so much for logging on and listening in today. And I hope you have a great one. Again, my name is Lauren Lonsdale, the Work From Home Milspo, meeting military spouses where they're at. Thanks again.
Thank you so much for joining us today. I hope we gave you some valuable insight into your work from home career as a military spouse. If you haven't already, we hope you join us over at the Work From Home Milspo membership, where you will learn the skills to become a creative marketing virtual assistant, as well as have the ongoing support of military spouses just like you, live trainings from me, and resources to use for yourself or your clients. Visit us at the WFHMilspo.com, as well as our virtual assistant agency made just for students, MilspoVirtualSolutions.com. And give me a follow on Instagram and TikTok to get more daily tips and information on remote work for military spouses. My name is Lauren Lonsdale, and